What's up? This is Jeff Morton from MortonTrainingSystems.com, and as promised, this week I'm going to show you how to fall. And if you are not convinced that you need to learn how to fall, I would highly recommend checking out my last video, which I'll link in the description below. So today we're going to learn how to do a break fall. There's lots of different ways to fall. There's lots of different tumbling drills and exercises we can do. The most basic is called the break fall. So I'll show you what that looks like first. All right, one more. Don't worry, you're going to get to see plenty of repetitions throughout the video. All right, so that's a break fall. I know there's a lot going on. I know it's really fast. It can be very intimidating. Don't worry, I'm gonna walk you through every step of the way. All right, enjoy. All right, so the first progression in learning how to fall looks like this. So I'm basically gonna try and turn myself into a human tumbleweed. So I'm gonna tuck my knees into my chest, wrap my arms around my knees, round my back as much as I can, and tuck my chin tight. So I wanna be able to hold a book here. Like, I don't ever want to drop that book that I'm holding in my chin. So now, after I've achieved this tumbleweed position, I'm just going to rock back and then rock up. Now, the rock up isn't terribly important, and I did use a little leg momentum to get back up. What's really important is that as you roll backwards, you stay tucked. You keep your chin tucked, you keep your back nice and round. What you don't want is you don't want to uncoil like that, because that, even just doing it like that on this soft carpet was not very pleasant. So chin tucked, knees tucked in, human tumbleweed. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add the slap. And what the slap does is it slows our momentum. One, so we're not, our body isn't taking as much of the force that we've acquired on our descent to the ground. But it also prevents us from continuing our roll backwards, because if I keep rolling backwards, even my chin tucked, I might hit my head or I just lose control of the fall. So I'm going to start off the same way in my tumbleweed. I'm going to roll back. Actually, this time I'm going to, since I've gotten really good at keeping my knees tucked in without my hands, I'm going to cross my hands over my chest, chin's nice and tucked, back's round, and then I'm going to... So see how I just stopped? So... Now, when I do that, you're noticing I'm kind of taking my hand off the ground really quickly. And that's what you want to do. You don't want to have your hand just... You'll find that as you practice this, that if you just try and kind of like clap the ground and leave your hand there, it doesn't really work as well for slowing down that momentum. So you want to pretend like the ground that you're touching is a hot plate or a hot pan or something like that, where hands buried. So it's just really quick and up. So one minor detail I want to point out, and I noticed this as I was looking over the footage of the prior steps in the tutorial, is that in some of the clips it looks like I'm unraveling earlier in the tutorial when I said, oh, don't unravel on the way back. However, if you look carefully, what you'll actually notice is that my back I'm still rolling onto the ground, but instead of continuing going, I'm actually straightening my legs to counteract that continued roll, and it ends up looking like my back is straightening up before I hit the ground. So just wanted to point that out in case you watching this are saying, you told us not to do that, and now you're doing that. It looks very similar. So now we're going to do our fall, but we're going to elevate ourselves a few inches off the ground. So I'm going to do my fall, but from a deep squat position like this. Now, if you can't hold this, if you're unable to hold this position, with your feet flat on the ground, that's totally fine. Let's do it from here. Now, why I prefer the flat-footed version is, you notice when I did that, I actually raised myself a little bit off the ground, so it's a little more difficult, but it's pretty negligible. Now, if you can't hold this squat position, my heels off the ground, I would highly recommend working on that and learning how to do that. So I'm in my deep squat position. And then I get everything right, chin tucked, back round, and then I slowly sit back, slap the ground. Kick back up, chin tucked, round back. One more. All right, so now we are finally on our feet, but we're not going to get to the final version just yet. We're going to do it, but we're going to do it very slow. So I'm going to start from standing, and then I'm going to drop into my deep squat, pause for a second, and then I'm gonna stand up, drop into my deep squat, and then you'll notice that each rep, I'm kind of doing it a little quicker. So I have a little more momentum as I'm hitting the ground. So we're finally on the final step, and this is just straight up falling. Now, there is a lot of steps in between a full-on fall and the last progression that we did where we did the squat to fall. And basically how you get there is you just start giving gravity a little bit more and more power in the situation. So, you know, the last step, I squat, and then, you know, I might have paused a little bit. I slowed down on the way down. With this step, we essentially want to work on not slowing down. We want to really try and simulate a fall where, you know, if I kind of trip and fall, I'm actually getting knocked over, that my reflexes kick in, I slap the ground, and I can pop up safely. So how we do that is I'm going to squat down, and then little by little, bit by bit, rep by rep, I'm going to start actually falling until, as I said, you feel comfortable actually completely falling to the ground. And that takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of reps. Like I said, all these progressions, I would really not move on to the next one until you feel really, really comfortable with it, especially with this last one, because, you know, you are falling from your feet. I don't want you to think like, oh, I'm pretty good at the squat one, so I can just tumble backwards and be fine. No, really ease into it, really be careful, use good judgment. Having a nice soft mat to fall on is really helpful as well. Even grass in the park, I mean, don't learn this stuff on hardwood. That's basically what I'm saying. Make sure that there's nothing around you where you're practicing it, where you're gonna hit your head or anything like that. Just be smart, be aware of your surroundings. And then if you do that, then this will actually help you live longer.